On this chilly, dreary, rainy day, let's talk about mental health.
Driving with Mr. Grizzly. Funny real talk. Let's drive.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Driving with Mr. Grizzly. I'm Mr. Grizzly, everyone's favorite middle school math teacher. So, today let's discuss mental health. And the reason why I want to discuss this is because there's some things that have happened. So, first off, let me preface this by saying that I have recorded a few episodes, one or two before this. So, if you're seeing this, I know this is a couple weeks late, especially with who and what I'm going to talk about. But so, earlier this week, actor Robert Carradine, he committed suicide. And from what I've heard, he suffered from bipolar depression. And Martin Short's daughter also committed suicide. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to say I know what they're going through and all that, because I don't know what they're going through. But it does make you, I guess, wonder what they were going through and to what would make them want to take their lives. First off, I'm not going to say anything bad about someone takes their life. I know there's people out there that will badmouth someone that does that, say, oh, they were weak and they made it worse for their family and all this other stuff. I'm not going to do that. Clearly, that person was suffering from something and their mind just couldn't take it anymore. Now, I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about Mark Short's daughter. Like I said, Robert Carradine, I heard he had bipolar depression, and I'm not 100% sure on what bipolar depression is. If I remember right, I heard one time it's where you can have like your highest of highs, and then the next second be at rock bottom. Your mood swings. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what it is. I mean, I've heard of it, but I just don't know exactly, you know, what it does to the body. So that's what I'm trying to say. Now, I know there's been a lot of famous people who killed themselves or commit suicide. Robin Williams is one that comes to mind because Robin Williams, I thought, was an absolutely wonderful comedian, just magnificent. He was funny, hilarious, all that. And I always would have loved to have met Robin Williams because he had that, I guess, manic energy, and he was like, "I'm to go," and this and that, and that's like the complete opposite of me. He's and I'm like, let me rest. So I would like to, to experience that just to see it. But yeah, when that happened with him, and that one really broke my heart because, like I said, I was a huge fan of his. He always made me laugh, and to hear, that he done that to himself, and honestly, how he done it was just shocking. But I also heard that he suffered from, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but he suffered from Lewy body dementia or something like that. And he always blamed it for the years of drug abuse that he suffered. He didn't hide the fact that he did all that. That's what he said caused it, which, who knows? I don't know. I'm not a brain scientist and all that stuff. I do know some science, but there's just some things even I'm not aware of. And I know Matthew Lawrence, the middle Lawrence brother, Yeah, and they were in Miss Doubtfire together. And he said Robin told him one time, whatever you do, don't get on that. Matthew said that Robin told him that those drugs stole years away from his life. He said he always heard that you can get those years back and heal and all that. Robin said, no, it's not happening. Those stole the years from his life. That's what he always said. And people that were around him in his last few months of life said that Robin Williams, if you looked at him, you could just see that light gone from his eyes. So, and that's sad. That's sad. Then it's hard to know when somebody's thinking that way or when they're on that verge. I know a lot of people think, oh, just look for an extremely sad person and the person that suffered from depression, but that's not always the case. Let's think about, I think Chris Cornell, I'm hoping I'm right on that one. His wife said the day before they were having fun, they were out and about, taking pictures, laughing and all that, and then the next day he did what he did. So it's not always there for signs. Another reason why I want to talk about this is from a personal experience as far as involving family members. See, me, I'm not going to sit here and say, like I said, I know what they're going through. I don't. I really don't. I've never reached a point where I thought committing suicide would make things better. I've never got to that low. So I can't say I understand what they're feeling. I understand what they're going through. I don't. I'll be the first to tell you. I have no idea what brings a person to that. But as I was saying, this past week and for a while, I've had a family member that has been struggling with mental health. And mental health don't always mean you're going to commit suicide. It don't. It can affect you in many different ways. For the person in my family, and I'm just going to leave it family member, I ain't going to specify how they're a family member and all that, but for the person in my family, for them, it makes them really, it makes their body hurt and it makes them constantly feel sick to their stomach to the point they don't want to do anything. And I know, obviously, just being a family member, I worry about them and I love them. I love them to death, but I wish I knew what I could do to take that away from them. I would like to know how could I take that away, and and I know that's probably something that never happened. I know that what I can do is at least talk to them, let them know they're loved, let them know I'm there for them, and just always be there and talk. But from my end, I just it bothers me, it scares me to see them like that. Do I think they would get to that point where they might would do something worse? I'd like to say no, but we don't honestly know, do we? Like I said earlier, with Chris Cornell, he was laughing, playing, having fun with his family. Then the next day, that was it. So, you know, I want to say this much. I feel like as a society, we're getting more hateful to each other, more bitter to each other, more divided, and that's sad to see because and because we don't know what the other person's going through. When I talked about social media and I said that kids shouldn't have social media, and that's true. I still say that. But honestly, there's adults that shouldn't have it either, because if someone says something wrong, you'll have an adult like, oh, you're stupid and you're this and you're that. And then I'm thinking, why are you saying that to them? I mean, good grief. You don't know what that person, you might be just throwing dirt on and just making it worse. So how did their statement affect your life so much that you felt like you had to make those comments? Just like I made a comment recently on TikTok that uh that I heard that the Southern accent, my accent, it's just a slowed down Scottish accent. And even when I went to Scotland, I even had someone say that, your accent sounds like ours just slowed down. Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, the people that called me stupid and dumb and the R word, and just because I made that comment, I mean, good grief. How did that comment affect your life so much that you had to be calling me names and insults? I don't understand it. So, and I'm going to be the first to say, even though I use social media, I'm going to be the first to say social media is really putting a divide on us. Just like with everything, it's got its good and bad. It's good. You can connect with people you haven't connected with in ages, like high school friends. I've got my high school friends on my Facebook and on my TikTok, and we talk sometimes and all. But there's also that bad, and I just mentioned that bad. Also, I want to talk about from a teacher's perspective, because as we all know, if you don't, you'll learn something new here. The highest rate of suicides come from teenagers, middle school, high school kids. And that's because of bullying, which basically falls back on that I was just talking about, being nice to each other. Uh, the social media part, we got online bullying. And there's, and I'm going to be honest, this behavior most of the time is learned from the parents. I know that probably making some of you mad right now, but it's true. And if it's not learned from the parents, then it also comes from the parents who are just not in these kids' lives. I have students that are just, I don't know, very apathetic. And then when I try to call home, their parents don't care. I had one parent say, hey, don't call me, they're your problem. So anyway, so they're always mean to each other. And as a teacher, we always try stuff up. Most of them. Now, I'm going to say there's probably some teachers that don't. They probably ignore it and all that. But me personally, when I hear that, I am the first one to tell them, hey, we do not talk like that and we do not act like that. You don't know what they're going through. What if what you said just could make things worse and this and that? I'm always on them because I do not want to see that. I don't want to hear that. But with that being said, teenagers have the highest rate. And luckily, the school badges that the kids have to wear, they have a suicide hotline on there. So, if it gets to that point, they have someone to talk to. I always tell them they can talk to me if they need to. I'm always there for them. If you see me there, and obviously I can't do it in the middle of teaching class unless it's an emergency. If a student came in there and Mr. Thompson, I need to talk to you and this and that, I'd be like, all right, come talk to me. I'll figure something out with the class. I'll get them busy doing work. We'll do something. But I always tell them, talk to me. I'm always here for you. If you need me, talk to me. I will listen to you. But I also tell them, if you don't want to come to me because maybe you're scared of it, because I'm a big guy. I look like this. I can look intimidating. I know I do. If you don't want to talk to me for whatever reason, find someone to talk to. Talk to a peer. Talk to another teacher. Just find someone. And that's the biggest takeaway I want us to all think about. If we're feeling extremely low, if we're suffering from mental health issues, don't carry that alone. Talk to someone. And I know you think, oh, nobody cares. Nobody wants to deal with me. But trust me, we do. We do. There's somebody in your life that does. They want you to feel better. They want you to be happy. They want you to be loved. Just know that. It ain't that we don't love you. It ain't that we don't care. We do care. We do love you. It's just you've gotten into your mind that people don't. But hey, our mind can be our worst enemy. Even though we know there's people that love us and care for us, if our mind tells us they don't, trust me, we're going to think they don't. That's the hardest obstacle there, is to convince yourself. But I do want you to talk to someone. I do want you to reach out to someone. Reach out to a family member. Reach out to a friend. Call someone. Call a hotline. There's a hotline for that. And I will post the number for that hotline in the description for you. Just reach out. And for those of you seeing someone suffer, reach out to them. Go up to them. Say, hey, is everything okay? You want to talk? What's going on? Nice seeing you. Even if it's a stranger, you might surprise them and scare them. They'll be like, oh, a stranger talked to me. But walk up to them and say, hey, you all right? I've done that in the past. When I've seen someone that just looks so down and I'm, worrying that something might happen, I'll be like, hey, man, what's up? Sometimes that, strikes them to want to talk. Sometimes they'll just look at you and then that'd be it. And in fact, if they do that, just look at them, say, well, I hope you have a great day, and just move on. Because maybe that seed has been planted in them and they'll see that, someone cared. So reach out and don't be, because these people exist and they do. You might be one of them that's watching right now. Don't be the ones that antagonize them, say, oh, cheer up. That's not going to do anything. Or how about the ones that say, oh, they're just doing that for attention? That one right there just makes me mad. Oh, they're doing it for attention. Oh, hush. No, they're not. So don't make it worse. And because you don't understand what they're going through, doesn't mean you need to be like that about it. So don't do that. So, but I wanted to talk about this and just let people know that someone cares about you. Like I said, everybody in this world right now has at least one person I know that cares for you. More than that, but at least one. So, and I guess to inject a little humor, even if you're a mountain man living in the mountains, there's someone there that cares for you. They might have a hard time finding you. Maybe it's the trees. I don't know, but someone still, cares for you and loves you. So just reach out, talk to someone, and if you see someone suffering, talk to them. Well, I'm about to pull into my driveway. I hope you enjoyed the ride. And if you have enjoyed the ride, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Click that bell icon. That way when I post, you get notified. I post every Tuesday at 6. So, well, from this math teacher, your favorite middle school math teacher at that, always remember 1 + 1 is 2. Until the next ride.